Hey guys, this is Casual here, and this is not a battle report. I'm actually going to review the Clash of Kings book. I got my hands on a copy early, and I'm not going to show the book, but I am going to go through a couple things. First and foremost, book's really nice. I mean, there's a lot of information for setting up a league, setting up tournaments. If you're into that type of thing, Nerdhammer's been doing it for a while now, so we kind of got our stuff together. But there's definitely a lot of great information in here, and something that you should definitely take a look at, especially the league stuff. That always intrigues me. Like I don't really have a local store. There is a new store, but there's really not like a tabletop following just yet. But it is pretty neat to give you an idea of how to get a league going and a bunch of other stuff. So that stuff's all great and everything, and I'm not going to really review that. What I am going to review is the 2017 Clash of Kings rules. This is tournament ready rules. I mean, we've been kind of playing with Clash of Kings comp for the past, I don't know, just about a year. I mean, since the flying change. And that was pretty much well accepted and well adopted in the community here in the United States and like overseas. So some of the stuff, the same things in place, like no like monsters, heroes, war engines, not taking more than 3 of any given one. That's still in place. I thought that was a good change back when they did it, and that stays intact. Something else that's changed: breath weapons are actually going to get cover now, cover and stealthy. So hit on a 4 normally, you're going to be hit on 5s. But anything that's in woods or behind cover or has stealthy roll, I think that's a good change. I think the community was really upset about the amount of breath weapon spam that was out there. And in the beginning when they changed the fly roll, I'm like, you realize that you're just going to have to keep nerfing stuff, right? I mean, the second best thing becomes the best thing, and it's just kind of like a snowball effect. And I kind of feel like that's what's happening. I mean, it's a given because you're never going to achieve perfect balance in tabletop wargaming, but you can try, right? So fly is still, the fly rule is still in order. When you disorder a flying unit, and of course my phone goes off, they lose nimble and they lose the fly roll. Pretty simple. One big change that I see here as we're going down the list is the change to Bane Chant. So Bane Chant will no longer. Bane Chant will give piercing, but only if you roll 2 successful rolls. So if you're going to cast it on a shooting unit, both of your dice are going to have to be over 4+, which to me makes that you can't even use it, right? I mean, you can't even use Bane Chant for shooting units anymore. There's no reason to risk tossing those dice. I mean, if you have absolutely nothing else to do with your wizard, then I guess it's worth the chance. But honestly, if I'm taking Bane Chant for my shooting units, I've made a mistake somewhere in my list, honestly. So yeah, I'm not crazy about that change. I think that was an overreaction because when the fly roll went in effect, obviously shooting got stronger, and Bane Chant being able to up that piercing on the Bane Chant was absolutely huge. So that's my thoughts on that. Some unit changes. Pharaoh for undead going to defense 5. Yeah, that was needed. Vampires, the same thing. Making these changes, I get it. Those single characters were tough at 6 up armor. But why not just tweak the point value of the vampire and the Pharaoh? Like, if I still want a defensive 6 vampire flying around, why can't I have that and pay the cost for it? If you cost it appropriately, I think you can find a range where people are like, you know what, it's a lot of points, but it's still worth it. I want my vampire to be defense 6. Instead of just saying, nah, you're not doing it. I know the Pharaoh thing was already implemented last year, but the hit the vampires, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're worth the points now. Well, why run around with vampires for the cost that they are? They're like 200 some points. When they're not defense 6, I think that's just Yeah, I think that sucks, to be honest. And same thing with the Empire of Dusk Pharaoh. They're defense 5 now. Just not the not the move I would have made. Just change the point cost. You have an inherent balance mechanism in the points. I just feel like you change the points. I don't know. Night Stalker change. The nerve of fiends. I don't really know much about Night Stalkers. I don't know. It was a reduction, so it's a nerf. I guess they felt. I felt the fiends were too strong. I can't really speak on it. I don't know. I don't know much about them. Hersh, this is one I could definitely speak about. They took away the judgment rule, so no units come back to life. So what it is now, it's a range attack. It's a heal 5 basically to any friendly non-allied units, but they have to be in line of sight. Does that make me think Herja won't be on the table? Probably will still show up, but having that unit come back to life was the most frustrating thing, especially because it was always going on a Bloodsworn, right? And the Bloodsworn's 23 nerve or more. I don't know exactly, but you were putting it on there, and that was it. And then the worst case scenario, yeah, that unit dies, and then boom, it comes back to life, and it could really screw with your plans. I think that's a great nerf. I think that's exactly what it needed. There's another Night Stalkers, Mind Screech. Nerve was reduced. That's another bloater Night Stalkers. I never thought they were that strong of an army anyway. I don't know. Maybe it's just not in my meta where I saw a lot of strength in Night Stalkers. I think I've only known one player that actually plays them, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough. Death Engine Ratkin, yeah, defense is reduced to 4+ if the Vile Sorcery upgrade is chosen. I thought Death Engines were probably one of the uh, strongest units almost in the game. They're so good. And I guess the benefit is that there's not a whole lot of Ratkin players, but man, when you see 3 Death Engines on the table, it's scary. I have a couple battle reports where I went up against Rob's Death Engines, and that was tough. Salamanders, yeah, they got a buff. A couple units got vicious. The Lancers, Fire Drake, Clan Lord on Fire Drake, they're all getting buffs with vicious. I think that's a good start. I don't think that brings Salamanders out of the basement, but at least it goes on to bring them up a little bit. Trident Realms. This is kind of an army that's dear to me. I have a Trident Realm army, but I rarely play it. I played it on UB a bunch of times, and talk about a basement army. Really, I know you could say, "Oh, somebody won a GT with Trident Realms." Yeah, well, he's probably a pretty good player too, and had some luck because they're really tough. But what happened is falling units get in snare. So finally, they give Trident Realms their army-wide ability to their units. So Placoderms get it, Placoderm Defender, River Guard get it, River Guard Captain, and Nokin get it. It's about time. I don't know why you have an army-wide rule and not give it to most of the units. I think less units had it than had that didn't have it. So I don't know how that's an army-wide special rule. It's about time. I think that brings Trident Realms up just a little bit. I want to get them on a table a little bit and play them, but I still have some modeling to do and got to get them on their bases. So hopefully I can get some Trident Realm reports in. They had to do this, right? It's kind of their signature, one of their signature armies that they've created, and they have to sell models, right? So why would an army that is probably one of the worst in your game, how would you how are you going to sell units and boxes if they suck? And I get it, and that's a good move. I am so disappointed in the quality of the miniatures that they're bringing out for the Trident Realms. There's absolutely no way I would even use any of them, with the exception of the Tholes. I think the Tholes are one of the most surprising units in Trident Realms that people overlook. They're a glass cannon unit, but man, are they nasty. I think the Tholes are okay. If they're metal, I'll never buy them. So there you have it. When I see the quality that some of these companies are putting out in miniatures, and then I see Mantic's Trident Realms, it makes me really, really sad. I want to support Mantic, but when you're putting out that quality And I mean, maybe let's see him. Let's see some people paint him up with some different paint jobs. But to be honest, I think they're awful. And maybe you don't agree, and that's why art is subjective. Orcs get a buff. Yeah, man. Falling units have fury. So the fight wagons, the Morax, the Kruger on a slasher, Kruger on a gore chariot, and Gakamak. I don't know a whole lot about orcs, but I know they're underpowered, and any buff is a good buff. What does fury do anyway? Should I know this? I probably should know this. Oh well, I don't. I guess I don't. But yeah, so that's orcs. Artifacts and spells. So the voices were heard, I suppose. No longer will we have enscrolled armor to put on our dragon slash big monster slash hero slash monster slash everybody. Enscrolled armor is gone. Ensorcered armor. Sorry, enscrolled. So that is gone. Necessary, I guess. You saw it a lot. You saw it in almost every list, and I guess they really don't want that happening. Yeah, I mean, I buy it. Okay. Brew of Keen Eyeness. That was an auto take with shooters. I guess take it away from us. I don't know. I was listening to Alex Schmidt talking about some nerfs and some changes in Malifaux, and he made a point that it always feels bad when something gets taken away from you, right? Instead of bringing up the lesser units or bringing up the lesser artifacts, they just take them away, take away the stuff that you're using all the time, and it just feels bad, right? You keep instead of bringing something up, say maybe there's a unit that's kind of underpowered, you give them a little buff. Now you're kind of like, oh wow, look, I have this whole other option. Maybe these guys are good. Maybe I can fit these guys into this army. Maybe I can fit this artifact into it because it's better now. Instead of just taking away. And I kind of feel it's the same with this. And Medallion of Life, that's gone too. So no, what is that? The regen one, I believe. Yeah, I mean, of course, this all has to be agreed upon by your TO and blah blah blah. But in reality, when something comes out that's official from Mantic, I mean, people are going to follow it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not. I get it, I understand it, but I'm not like, wow, that had to be done. You know what I mean? You're just taking away things that, maybe they rotate back in next year. Who knows? So we're going to get down to the new artifacts. We have 5-point healing brew once per game. When given an order, a unit may remove D3 points of damage previously suffered. That's not bad. A little heal when you have that 5 points left over might save the unit. I think that could definitely find its way in. How many times have we put fire oil on and never saw regen? At least this is a 5-point item that you're going to use every round, every turn, or every game, if you can remember to use it. But I'm sure you can get a little icon or something to put down on the table. Next up, 10-point Sparkstone. So this unit has a ranged attack with a range of 18 inches that may only be targeted against heroes, monsters, and war engines. So you roll a d6 and you need 4 up to hit. And if you hit, the target is disordered during its next turn. I think this might be an auto include in a lot of lists. And I'm curious to see when I say these things and come back, after some competitive play, if these things are holding true. I think disordering with the fly roll in effect, disordering, a flying dragon or something would be absolutely enormous. So, yeah, I think this finds its way in somehow, some way. Yeah, I really like that. I mean, can you imagine popping that off on Herja so that she can't fly into your lines or something, or something crazy? Doing Herja things. Yeah, I dig that. Helm of the Ram. I don't see much use in this one. 15-point item. You get Thunder's Charge 1, and it increases your Thunder's Charge value. I don't know. Thunder's Charge is so situational the way it is. I would have liked to see maybe Helm of the Ram once per game. You can keep your Thunder's Charge roll regardless of being, charging through woods or something. Buffing up your Thunder's Charge, I guess. I don't know. I guess it gives you something to put on if you're running 2 night units, for example, because I run 2 night units a lot in Brotherhood. I got one with Pathfinder, and then maybe on my ones that I know are going to be supporting my main lines that are not going to be around woods, I throw this on. 15 points and bump up my Thunder's Charge to 3. That's pretty nasty. Maybe that's where it finds its place. I could see that. Next item, Blood of the Old King, 15 points once per game. This unit gains Elite and Vicious for 1 turn. This must be declared before the unit rolls any attacks. That's a pretty interesting one. I could see this being really super effective on kind of one of those middle-of-the-road units. Maybe it's like a Horde of Spears, or... actually, I would love this on my Martyrs in Brotherhood. Put it in there, or even on one of my hordes from one of my Slave Orc hordes, because Elite and Vicious are excellent buffs, and to be able to pop this when you absolutely need to bust through something and you want to guarantee that it happens, or you need to put as many wounds on a unit as you possibly can, I think that's great. I think it's a really cool item. Will it find play? I don't know. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how much that comes into effect. It is only once per game, but it is only 15 points too, so who knows. Next up, Banner of the Griffin, 20 points. This unit gains the Rallying 1 special rule. This I don't see being that great. Rallying 1, yeah, it's decent, but I don't know. I guess maybe if there's a situation, if you have a lot of rallying in your army, and you have a unit that doesn't have it. I'm thinking of Skaven, for example. Maybe, I don't know if the Plague Bearer type unit has rallying or not, but maybe you just kind of, if you're building an army around rallying and you have some units, some powerhouse units that don't have it, maybe you drop it on there. But for 20 points, I'm sure there's some better options. I'm not 100% sure on that one. And I mean, I use rallying. I have, well, kind of. The Martyrs have Valiant, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I use that or not. Next up, Dragon Shard Shield, 20 points once per game. When this unit carries out a halt pivot, they get +2 to their maximum of 6 defense. I really like this one, and I know this is something that me and the crew talked about. This something having an item that helps the defense of a unit, not just like a hero or something, but and not. We were talking maybe it would be a spell, perhaps you could toss on somebody, but this isn't too bad. I could see this being on. I don't know. Maybe like one of your middle of the road units again, like you have a 4-up defense. Yeah, I use my Martyrs as an example. 4-up defense isn't that great, but once per game when you really need them to stick, you can pop this Dragon Shield and come through. I think it's interesting. I don't think it'll get much play. Yeah. So another artifact, Hammer of Measured for 20 points. Measured Force, 20 points. This unit will always damage the enemy on a 4-up in melee, regardless of modifiers. Again, situational. I think you might use this on a specific unit that you want to counter something that's high defense. I don't know. I don't think that sees play. Yeah, I mean, it has to be a pretty bad unit, right? I mean, oh no, I'm sorry. This unit will always damage the enemy on a 4-up in melee, regardless. Again, I think it's situational. You're looking for a unit. Maybe you use it on something that's like maybe some light cav, something that you can pop into a heavy cav unit, and you're always going to damage them on 4-up. But even then, light cav usually has Thunder's Charge 1, and you're bringing down a defense 5 to 4 anyway. Against like Soul Reaver cav, this defense 6 maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that sees much play. I guess I have to think about it and build a list, have a list in mind for it. So another item, Loot of Insatiable Darkness. This artifact can only be used by heroes. The hero has Bane Chant 2. Now, this item speaks to me. This item speaks to the Abyssal Dwarf player and the Brotherhood player that I am without Bane Chant. Absolutely, I am bringing this. Maybe not so much in Brotherhood. I'll probably find a place for it in Brotherhood, but I'm absolutely bringing this in Abyssal Dwarfs. When I think of my Abyssal Dwarfs list that I've had battle reports on, and everything has crushing strength, and now I have a Bane Chant on top of it, absolutely, I am sold 100%. I already wrote it into my list, and it's going to find a way. Give me Bane Chant, please. I know you nerfed it, but in my Abyssal Dwarfs list, I don't have much shooting. I don't care. I'm not going to use it on my shooting list. But when my 150-point horde with 25 attacks hitting on 4s now has Crushing Strength 2, I'm in. Sold. That's about the best thing in this list. More items. Zephyr Crown, 20 points. Unit has Wind Blast 4. Increase the value of Wind Blast spell by 4. Terrible. Wind Blast sucks. Move on. Shot of the Saint, 25 points. User with the heal spell only. This item increases the heal value by 2. So heal 3 becomes heal 5. I guess, if you want to use it, if you want bigger heals. I'm not a big fan of heals in this game, unless you have, like, the Green Lady who has a big heal. I don't run into it a lot. If you can buff your heal, am I really putting Shroud on the Saints on a heal to what's her damsel for lack of a better word. Let's see, she can get up to heal. Actually, maybe that wouldn't be too bad, because she can get up to heal 4, so you have a heal 6 for 25 points. I mean, I'm not really keen on taking damsels at all in Brotherhood. Does this make me take her if I can get a heal 6 for what's the point cost to her? Let's just say 75 points. I don't know, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really look to heal. I'm not looking when I'm playing games. I'm not really thinking like, man, I could really use a heal here. It's just kind of not in my mind frame. But maybe if I have a better heal, it's something that I would look into. So we're going into spells here, and these spells can be taken by anybody that's not a living legend, has a spell, or the ability to take spells. So that means like, what are they called? Like Ephits, they have a fireball, so they can probably take these spells, I'm assuming. Or what are the other units that have shooting or fireballs? I forget. And they can be taken multiple times. That's important. So it's not, these spells aren't restricted by like artifacts are. So this is going to be interesting. I think they opened up a can of worms here. So you're going to have these spells available to everybody that can cast spells, right? There's 3 spells. One is weakness for 20 points. It has an 18-inch range. You throw 2 dice at it, and you get a -1 modifier when rolling to damage enemy units during the next turn. So, and a natural 6 still causes damage. So it's like a -1 buff to wound, right? I think that's pretty good. It could be pretty nasty in the right situation, but multiple casts have no effect. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I have to think about that. So, -1 to damage for 20 points. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that finding some place. Blood Boil, 25 points, 12-inch range, rolling to hit. Roll a number of dice equal to the amount of damage on the target unit. Roll to damage with Piercing 1. This one seems absolutely nasty. This is like your finishing spell. Those units that, say, have, 10 wounds and they're 16, 18, and you just couldn't get the final wound through, well, now you can throw a Blood Boil at them. And so they have 10 wounds. You can roll 10 hits, and when rolling to hit, roll a number of dice equal to them. Yeah. So you can roll 10 dice, 4 up to hit. Right? Yeah, 4 up to hit, and then Piercing 1. So that's the way you're going to finish some units off. And I think that's a really strong spell. And I think that'll definitely see some play. Soul Drain for 30 points. This only has a 6-inch range. Rolling 6 dice to hit and may target enemy units that are melee. Roll to damage as normal, Piercing 1. If 1 or more points of damage are scored, choose either the caster. So this is like a I do damage to you and I get life back for it, right? If they're in, but you can shoot into combat, which is pretty interesting, and but they don't take a nerve check if it does damage. But it does cause a nerve check if you do damage and are outside of combat. Yeah. So this is So I shoot, do damage to you, and I heal up another unit, right? I think that's the way it goes. Yeah, because you could either choose a caster or a single friendly non-allied unit within 6 inches of them. The ranges are a little tough with this, and I'm not 100% sold on it. Not as much as I'm sold on Blood Boil. I think Blood Boil is a really, really good spell. Soul Drain, yeah, that's iffy. So that's the items and the nerfs and the buffs. I was thinking about going through the scenarios, but this video is getting kind of long the way it is, and I don't know. Some scenarios are pretty expected, right? I mean, they're still push, dominate, all that. There are some new ones that I think are going to be pretty cool. It'd be neat to get them into the tournament scene, and because this game is really great when it comes to scenarios and victory points and guarding things, and but I'm not gonna. Maybe I'll do another video and break down the scenarios. But for now, I think that's good. But yeah, so that's just my little review and thoughts. It's going to be interesting to come back and see what actually gets played and what doesn't. But yeah, so that's a little review of the updates moving forward to Kings of War. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.